So hopefully by now that most of this makes sense. Here we have our lines and spaces with the letter names, and that's based on the different clefs, treble and bass and alto clef. Here we have the rhythm values, and here we have sharps and flats. If all of this makes sense, then you're right where you need to be. If any of these are a little foggy, maybe it would take some good time it'd be a good time now to go back and review. Based on all this, we can start talking about how to make notes that sound good together. Let's take our treble clef here, and we're going to take our C scale here, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and C. This is simply C to C. I'll write the letters out just to be really clear here. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and C. Now, it's really important to look here and see that the distance between the notes is what matters. And it really helps to look at a keyboard or another instrument that you can really visualize this on. But let me draw the keyboard down here just so we have something to work with. And this will be very useful to see why this scale is so useful. Okay, so here we have one more keyboard. Our notes go here, and we have, let me use pink here, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and C. Now, there's a really common scale, a really popular scale in the West called the major scale, and that's what we're talking about today. The major scale is all based on relationships. Now, if you look at C and D, the distance between C and D is 2. Here we have a distance of 1. Here we have a distance of 2. 1, 2. If you look at the black keys, it's really useful to see this. And imagine if you're here and you're going here and you see there's 1 step and here's 2 steps. So C to D is 2. So we write it like this. This means that there's 2 steps here. There's 2 steps between C and D. Okay. Now if we take D to E, you have 2 more steps. You're skipping this one. So 1, 2 steps. And it's really easy to see up here rather than do this. This is a little confusing going up and down. So it's a lot easier to see just going across here. So there's 2 steps here. Now, if you look between E and F, there's no black key. So you're missing that. So all of a sudden, instead of 2, now we're just going 1 next door. And it looks like this. I like to do this. And then F to G is, if we do this, obviously we have to go through the black key here. There is a black key between them, so we'd go F, F sharp, G. So this is another 1, 2, or 1, 2, depending on what you want to do. 1, 2, 1, 2. And this shows that there's 2 steps. These are called half steps. So you could say between C and D there are 2 half steps. So, or C up 2 half steps is D. Okay. Here between G and A, again we're skipping this black key, so we have 2 more. And between A and B, again we have a black key, so we're skipping 2 more. And finally we get B to C. There's nothing there, so it's simply 1 half step straight across, and there's 1. Okay, so if you look at this, 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 1. This is a very important pattern. Major scale is 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 1. And this is locked in now. If you change the pattern, if you make a different pattern besides this, it will be called something different. And you will have a different kind of scale, not necessarily a major scale. Okay? Now, what makes this a scale? Well, a scale is any collection of notes. Okay, so a scale... any group of notes, But the major scale has this pattern. So any group of notes with this pattern between them, which means you don't have to start on C, you can start on anything. But this one is the C major scale. Oops, M-A-J-O-R, major scale. This is the C major scale because it starts on C, and it follows the major scale formula, 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 1. Another side note is instead of using a whole 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 1, you can say whole note. Or, I'm sorry, not a whole note, a whole step. We talked about half steps and whole steps. We talked about half steps already, so whole steps are simply 2 half steps. 2 half steps equals 1 whole step equals 1 whole step. So we have, you could say instead of C to D is 2 half steps, we could say, oh, it's 1 whole step. So you can do this whole step, and then half step over here, half step, and then whole step, and half step. Now, you can say, well, 2 2 2 1 or 2 2 1 2 2 2 1 or whole half whole half. And these make the major scale. So, instead of starting on C, we will see how we can start on other notes. Maybe we can start on D instead.